Hey everybody, I'm John.
And I'm Natalie, and we are American Tifosi. On this podcast, we talk about everything Formula One, drama on the track, drama off the track. We're talking about it here today.
That's right. And today we're together and we are talking about the preview for the Canadian Grand Prix. We've had a couple weeks off. The lead up to the Grand Prix, all the suspense has been whether or not Lance Stroll is going to race. It turns out he
He
is
is.
going to race.
Yeah.
I don't really know if he actually races, he just
Mhm.
drives when everybody else races.
Right.
And also, the big news is Formula One released their 2025 schedule. The biggest note was obviously we knew Imola was gone, but RIP to Imola. You can't see me, but I'm pouring out over here for Imola. And the thing that I find very interesting is Monaco and Canada have swapped.
Yes.
The impact for that is now Canada is racing on the Memorial Day weekend, which traditionally is when the Indy 500 runs. Canada being in the same time zone as Monaco presents
Not
a
Monica.
sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
Canada being in the time zone, same time zone as the United States. That means that the Canadian Grand Prix is going to run around the same time as the Indy 500.
Yes.
Now, Formula
Little
One,
traffic there.
a little traffic, yeah. Formula One is the big fish globally, but there are a lot of American motorsport fans that are kind of PO'd because uh, now they have to choose between what to watch. So,
Mhm.
in a way, I'm an oracle because I called for this in our
Yes,
Monaco
you
review.
did.
I kind of wish it wasn't the same time, however.
Mhm.
So we'll see. And also with Imola being gone, it's still 24 races on the calendar, and that means that Madrid, the Madring, is official.
Yes.
One other thing that I do like is the European leg is now all Europe without annexed Canada part of it.
Mhm.
And I thought it was going to be interesting how they incorporated Barcelona and Madrid, and Barcelona kind of kicks off the European wing,
Yes. Yeah.
and Madrid ends the European
Hmm.
leg. So it's going to be exciting for 2025. Sorry, 2020, 2026. But anyway, what do you think we talk about the race?
Let's do it.
One other thing that I want to say that we'll show is have you had a chance to see the Haas livery?
No.
Oh yeah, it's this tells me how much of a rookie I am
Okay.
because Haas has not been around very long,
No.
and I guess they're just running the livery that is the same as the race from their very first race.
Okay.
It's being done in celebration of their 200th race.
Got it.
Haas hasn't been around very long,
Mhm.
so um, I thought it looked awesome, but it turns out it's just a rerun of
Mm.
their inaugural livery. But
Okay. I'll look at it after
yeah,
this.
anyway, yeah, we already mentioned Lance Stroll's racing.
Hmm.
We are going to Montreal, and I'm kind of excited for this track because it's a genuine racing track. It's uh, kind of hard to pass on, and it's really more hard to pass on when there's all the animals in the way. What
Right.
race was it that had the other animal problem?
Um, it was Imola with Pierre Gasly.
Oh, that's right, Pierre Gasly. Yes, yes. Well,
Yeah,
this
I
race
remember.
is being overrun by groundhogs. Evidently,
Oh.
it's a not evidently. It is always a problem, and
Mm.
especially in qualifying, it's a narrow track.
Hmm.
With one of the things that I really like is walls instead of runoff,
Hmm.
and so it kind of makes people drive well.
Yeah.
So interesting, especially during qualifying, if you see groundhogs,
Hmm.
do the drivers elect to abort their flying lap,
Right.
or do groundhogs get slaughtered, which no one wants to
Maybe
see?
that would be my bold prediction. Pierre is gonna hit another groundhog or another animal.
Yeah, they will show groundhogs for sure. I remember seeing it in years past, but
Yeah.
I do, like I mentioned, I like that it's there's not a huge area for runoff. And there's one of the most interesting. In fact, of the all the races there are, usually for every racetrack there is a DRS detection zone
Hmm.
as well as a DRS activation zone,
Hmm.
and they correspond. At this race and this race only, there are only two DRS detection
Hmm.
zones, but there are three DRS activation zones,
Right.
which kind of means that after lap two,
Hmm.
if somebody's within 1 second of someone else, then they can dang near run the whole lap
Right.
uh, under DRS,
Yeah.
which again leads it to a lot of passing, and we like passing and we like
Yes.
chaos. So
Right.
Um, yeah. Also, you and I have talked about lap one, turn one
Hmm.
hijinks in the past.
Yes.
This one is because it turns into a left turn and then a sweeping U-turn.
Hmm.
Lap one, or sorry, turn one and turn two can be very, very exciting.
Yes, absolutely.
And turn one, like you had mentioned in our notes, there's often a chance for safety cars.
Yeah, there is, according to Formula One, an 83 or 87, I can't remember, percent of a safety car. And then I think it's a 50% chance of a virtual safety car. So
Okay.
there's a lot of drama on this track, I'm thinking. Lots of tight turns here.
Lots of tight turns. In
Yeah.
fact, two full hairpins.
Hmm.
One is actually called the Senna turn, and I meant to do some research on why it's called that because they've been racing here for something like 60 years, and Ayrton Senna. I mean, it must have been renamed Senna
Right.
after, but um, turn 10 and 11 offer one of the rarest sights in all of Formula One.
What is that?
Evidently, there are Lance Stroll fans
Okay.
because at turn 10 and 11, the grandstand is called the Lance Stroll grandstand.
Oh, brother.
So yeah, that is the second hairpin.
Are we sure that's filled up?
That's true. So if you're watching along after listening to our podcast and there's a grandstand that is empty, it is probably safe to assume that it's the
It's
whole
probably that's just gonna
it's
be
Lance
Lance
Stroll
Strauss
grandstand.
at turn 11.
Yeah.
That's crazy. How would they give that to him?
Well, it's I mean this is his race, and that's
Right.
something else. Perhaps this leads to Fernando Alonso's longevity, but they're calling this his second home race.
Really?
And they're probably only doing that because he races for Aston Martin. Aston Martin is
Mhm.
owned by
Okay.
Canadian gajillionaire
Right.
Lawrence Stroll,
Right.
and he has to tow along Canadian heartthrobs. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Of the Canadian heartthrobs that I can think of, you have
Lance
Lance
Strauss
Stroll
there.
and Alanis Morissette. Right? Um,
I feel like Alonso might be able to fill a grandstand quicker than Lance
I guarantee
in
that's true.
Canada
That's why
too.
then they're not going to do it because they're going to be like, wow, why
Yeah.
is Lance Stroll the grandstand empty? And Fernando, um,
Uh,
and then turn 13 to 14, the chicane is crazy because it is called the Wall of Champions, and it was formerly called, and maybe still is in some circles, called the Quebec Wall, but it was called the Wall of Champions because in, I believe, 1999, I'll have to fact check that, and if anyone cares, then they'll have to hit us up in the comments. But three current world uh, driving champions crashed into the same wall at the same spot. Michael
mhm.
Schumacher, Damon Hill, and Jacques Villeneuve. That is not Gilles Villeneuve, who the racetrack is named after his son. It's the guy that does the guest commentary that sounds
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
Saskatoon. Anyway,
Close.
uh, yeah. Anything you're excited about for this race?
Um, I'm just really excited. I think the track is really, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful track. They call it a unofficial street circuit. Lots of turns. I'm really excited for the turns. I know there's going to be a crash, so I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
I would say maybe my bold prediction could be Lance Stroll is going to crash because of the turns and it's his home race, but I don't think that works for Lance. That's not really a bold
That's not a
prediction. So
prediction.
I can't do that.
He doesn't crash.
Right.
I already think he has an out because he's coming off of. They've never called it surgery. They've always been calling it a
Hmm.
procedure,
Right.
but
Can't really do a hand procedure.
and
There's
it not be surgery.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know.
I'm a little disappointed that Botas won't be jumping in. He does have the lap record on this track,
Yeah,
which could have maybe been exciting to see him hop back in, but he's not, and that's
but
okay.
did you also see that he broke a different record yesterday?
No,
Yes, Valtteri Bottas is in Boulder, Colorado, and he broke some restaurant's record for how many tacos can be eaten in an hour. I think it's
really?
51.
He did that yesterday?
Yes.
It's supposed to be in Canada.
No, he's in Boulder, Colorado, doing a bike.
Yeah, I really do. He's
Yes,
always doing the
I want him
craziest
back on the
thing.
grid. Yes.
But I think he's really good at being sort of like a media face. But
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, miss
like
him driving. He's
him
a
and
great
Danny
driver.
Rick are great
Yeah,
together.
absolutely.
Yeah. What do you say we do some predictions?
Let's do it.
All right. So I want to wax about this for a minute first.
Okay.
I struggled with it, and Obviously, we know McLaren's the strongest.
Right.
I am leaving Max off. All of my predictions. If you look at historically, Max doesn't do well, or I don't want to say Max. Max does very well everywhere,
Hmm.
but I think that he struggles in low speed corners like he did at
Hmm.
Monaco,
Hmm.
and like he did at Australia.
Hmm.
Um, and I think he's got to be minding his P's and Q's. We mentioned this last time, but in case everybody forgot, he's on sitting on 11 to 12 penalty points. If he gets
Yes.
one more
Yeah.
between this one and Austria, he gets a
Hmm.
race ban. And this race, particularly this track, because it's so unforgiving,
Right.
if you push somebody into the wall here, rather than
Hmm.
it's easier to get a penalty than if you push somebody into the runoff,
Right.
right? So I think he's really got to mind his P's and Q's, and someone, Helmut Marko or Christian Horner, are probably saying to him, "Hey, man, it's better to get fifth than it is to get 10th after serving your penalty
Right.
and a race ban where you can't
Right.
get any points." So,
Yeah. Red Bull is very close to falling off
yep, I think
for the
so.
season.
And I'm really not wanting to not predict anything about Yuki, so I'm not going to. But
Okay.
you're right. I think Red Bull is falling off.
Yeah.
My other thing that I want to wax about is I am pushing, manifesting Ferrari greatness this weekend.
Okay.
It has to
Happy with
happen.
that.
Well,
They're
Lewis,
second currently, yes.
they're currently in second constructors, but I'm hoping to see Charles and Lewis make a
Lewis
jump.
needs a
And
win.
well, I'm not. They're bold predictions, not crazy as predictions. So,
Okay.
um, but he does really well here.
Mm.
He has done well at low speed turns.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of hoping, hope cautiously up. No, I'm not cautiously. I'm wildly
Whoa.
optimistic for Ferrari. So there. Any things you want to say before we mention?
Um, I hope you're right. I sort of almost put Charles on my podium this week because I mean he performed well yesterday, or not yesterday, at Monaco, and they're in second place now. That's incredible. Are they in second place because they're doing good, or is it because everybody else is doing bad? It's because everybody else is doing bad, I think, personally.
I think it's just a lot of fun.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe they still have a lot of races. I mean, theoretically, Charlotte could still technically win the championship. There's
Yes.
there's enough races for him to do so. That's not gonna happen, probably. But I'm happy with your optimism this week.
Yes. And I have one more reason for my optimism.
Okay.
So last year at Canada,
Mhm.
both Ferraris, of course, it wasn't Lewis Hamilton, but
Yes.
both Ferraris, Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc,
Hmm.
DNF'd.
Hmm. Really?
Correct. Now, if you go and do some math,
Hmm.
right, they got second in the Constructors' Championship to McLaren last year by 25 points.
Yeah.
If they
Oh,
would have just scored points, if they
any
would have just done
points?
average,
Yeah.
they would have won the Constructors' Championship.
It's
So
heartbreaking.
I
Why did
know
you share that today with us? Oh, that's terrible.
this is we're
Oh,
I'm
that got
we
away.
are manifesting greatness for Ferrari.
Oh, wow. That
Um,
really just put a damper on my
no,
week.
no, it didn't. That's for last year. This is this year.
Right.
The
This year is
American
different.
the American Tifosi cannot think about last year. We can only think about the future.
Right. That's how it goes for Ferrari fans.
There. All right. So for pole position, no surprise. I think both of us are of the opinion that you just have to choose McLaren as
Right.
which driver you pick. For reasons I just mentioned, I'm picking Lando over Oscar, even though I think Oscar is a better driver.
Mhm.
Lando is better in low speed corners. He won Monaco.
I
He won
did.
Australia.
Oh, I mean,
So
change mine.
no, no. So I pick Lando.
And I picked Oscar, and now I'm regretting it. Those are great reasons. I chose Oscar because he's just good at what he does.
Um, I don't have any fun, interesting facts about winning from from the front row. So this is not based in fact, but I also picked Lando to win, Oscar to get second, and because I am a crazy American Tifosi, I've got Charles on the podium.
Incredible. I
So
have
third place.
Oscar, Lando, and George. I did George because, well, he needs a win. And I think he got at least pole position. I'm not sure if he won last year, but he got pole position
Yeah,
last year.
Max won. George
So
got
we
pole.
know that
Yeah.
George can perform here.
Yep.
We'll see how his car performs though this week.
That's the issue with Mercedes. I don't. No one's doubting George and Kimi at
Mhm.
this point. It's
Right.
just their car is. It's like a
Although there has been this week talk about George getting the boot.
The boot?
The boot.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. I mean, it's just talk, and I think it's because with people are talking about Max and his penalties, people are not talking about, oh, Toto wants Max. But they've
Oh,
been saying that. It's just been going around the rumor mill this past week. I don't think there's anything to
I
it.
don't think there is
That's
anything.
just the rumor. They needed a rumor.
Paddock
They made
gossip.
it. Yeah.
It's like Desperate Housewives of Formula One.
Right.
All right, my bold prediction is both Ferraris in the top five.
Oh,
I told you I'm
like
manifesting
it.
right
I
now.
see that. My bold prediction, Lance Stroll, top 12.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's bold. Because I'm not even sure he's going to finish.
I I don't think that he will
Okay.
because there's a lot of turns and he's got to perform in front of all of his friends and
Yeah,
family.
pressure's on him.
But I'm going bold Lance Stroll top 12.
That's I hope you're wrong. I mean, I don't.
No, I think it would make most sense if he crashed. That I would you would think.
He's going to probably crash into turn 10 and 11, the Lance Stroll Grand
Right.
Prix, which is fine.
He's gonna
He's not going to
crash
hit
into
anybody.
the well, we don't know. He's never done that before. Maybe that's gonna happen.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for us.
Great.
Any final thoughts? What are you most excited for when watching the race?
I'm most excited to see Charles and Lewis on top five.
Heck yeah. All right. I too am most excited for that. I'm also excited that it's in a time that I don't have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch. So,
Perfect.
um, yeah, we will be back to talk about all of our predictions and if Groundhogs got killed and if there are indeed fans in the
Turn.
Lance Stroll Grand
Yes.
Prix.
Great. Bye, everyone.
Talk to you soon.